Right now, millions of people all throughout the United States are worried about a potential increase on prices. And this is across the board. They are worried that we are going to see inflation just run up again after Donald Trump takes office, which again is happening on January 20th. So we are just 2 weeks away from today. Now, I want to address this because what Donald Trump has just announced today is actually a big move and a massive shift away from seeing a revamp of inflation. And this could be good news for millions and millions of people here in the United States. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment. But all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So it's crazy to think, but it could happen. We could see Donald Trump's plans, specifically regarding tariffs, actually cause the United States inflation to run up once again. That's what economists have been predicting for several months. However, we are now hearing some good news. Now, I want to show you something though. Look at this. It says experts say high food prices are here to stay. One of the reasons why? Because of tariffs on other countries, specifically Mexico. If the United States implements tariffs on Mexico, we are going to see food prices increase. And this is likely to happen across the board because some of the products that we get from Mexico. Now keep in mind the United States does produce a lot of food here inside the US itself, but we could still see prices increase because wages are going up, right? That's a huge factor. Then we got the cost for production, right? That's going up. Fuel is going down, so that's good news, but it may not be that way for long. Now, I want to show you this, okay? Donald Trump vowed on day one he is going to implement tariffs. He was vowing to implement tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. Now, he's somewhat rolling back those thoughts. Look at this. It says Trump reportedly considering important alteration to tariff plans. Now, what would this alteration look like? And how big is this going to be? Well, here's what I can tell you. We could actually be saving money now because this universal tariff plan that the Trump administration is planning to put into effect on day one is going to have a massive change. Look at this right here. Then we'll dive into it. It says President-elect's aides look at universal import duties, but only on certain sectors among first big moves of presidency. Now, what sectors could these be? Well, here's what we know. Donald Trump has vowed to implement tariffs on countries that are not helping the United States and hurting us in more ways than one. He's vowed tariffs on Canada and Mexico simply because they were not helping try to reduce the amount of illegal immigration over their borders into the United States. Well, it seems like both countries have tried to do their part to slow down, not eliminate, but slow down the mass immigration that we've been seeing. But there's one other country, China. What's China doing? Well, according to reports, they're doing absolutely nothing to help. What China is doing, it looks like, they're sending more people over into the United States. Okay, and maybe they're not doing it on purpose, but people are leaving their country. The next thing they're doing is they are, well, not cracking down on threats to the U.S. We have known for some time that there have been Chinese groups that are hacking into U.S. Infrastructure, just embedding themselves into our systems, and we're finding it very difficult to remove them. From what we've heard over the past couple months is that the U.S. officials are telling us they can't remove all the Chinese threats that we face as far as our telecom right now, and we've seen reports that 7 or 8 different telecom companies have Chinese threats, but we don't know how to get them out. We don't know how deep this goes. Again, that's a problem, and China is doing nothing to help. I want to read this to you though. Okay? Look at this right here. It says President-elect Donald Trump's aides are exploring tariff plans that would be applied to every country, but only cover critical imports. 3 people familiar with the matter said. It goes on to say, if implemented, the emerging plans would pare back the most sweeping elements of Trump's campaign plans, but still would be likely to upend global trade and carry major consequences for the U.S. economy and consumers. Goes on to say, 2 weeks before Trump takes office, his aides are still discussing plans to impose import duties on goods, but from every country. But rather than apply tariffs to all imports, the current discussions center on imposing them only on certain sectors deemed critical to national or economic security, a shift that would jettison a key aspect of Trump's campaign pledge, at least for now, said the people, who cautioned that no decisions have been finalized and that planning remains in flux. The people spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe private conversations. Okay, here's where things get very interesting. By stopping or reversing this mass tariff on every country, what this does is it actually limits the amount of income, okay, the amount of revenue that the United States is going to bring in from these tariffs. Okay, now granted, these tariffs are likely going to be paid for by the American people, and this is going to cause inflation to go up, and we're going to spend more money. But here's the thing, and this is a big, big thing. By reducing the tariffs that we bring in, by reducing the amount of revenue that is possible, this also limits what the Trump administration is able to do as far as cutting certain things. Keep in mind that the Trump administration they were set on leaving Social Security as is, leaving the majority of SNAP benefits as it was. They were not going to eliminate Medicare or Medicaid. Okay, those are going to be 2 programs that were going to be pretty stable, but they were going to leave those programs because they knew there was money coming in from tariffs. Here's the problem. We may see that, okay, inflation isn't going up. That's great for millions and millions of Americans. But what about those that are on Social Security? Okay? Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, food stamps. What about those that are receiving some type of social benefit? Here's the issue there. Now we may see the Trump administration reverse course because they are now getting so much pushback from other countries that now they may not be able to reduce our national deficit, which was their number 1 plan. If we can't reduce the national deficit by bringing in additional revenue from tariffs, then maybe the only option to reduce our national deficit is to cut back on some of the spending programs that we've had over the past several years. So, I don't know what it's going to look like. The good news is inflation likely isn't going to go up, but the bad news is in order to accommodate and pretty much achieve Trump's goal of bringing down our national deficit, the only way we may be able to do that, especially if we just cut back on the amount of revenue we're going to bring in, the only way may be to see cuts. So again, good news in some sense, bad news in others. But as we get more information as to how this is going to play out, who this is going to impact, I'll make sure I bring you all the latest news and updates. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.